JB, this was a weekend where two losing streaks came to an end. The first one, this was the trendsetter apparently on Friday night. What was it, a 27-game losing streak or something like that William Paterson had, going back to 2016, I want to say. And Coach Dustin Johnson,
old news,
William Paterson, stepped in. Last week we thought he was going to actually do it with his team. They went to overtime. And William Paterson said, not so fast, Western Connecticut said to William Paterson, not so fast, my friend. This week, our friend Jimmy Robertson and company it didn't fare as well as Western Connecticut did, and the winners were William Paterson and Dustin Johnson. Welcome to In the Huddle, and congratulations, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a long road, long year for us, but the kids are definitely thrilled about it.
Let's talk about it a little bit. Well, let's talk about the game, the win itself. Then we'll go back to last year in a second. This was a hard-fought game, and game flow-wise, after a tough loss last week, how did you keep your team in this game mentally to come through the way they did?
Well, first of all, Coach Therese does a great job over there at FDU. He's always had his team ready to play, even since we were back at Stevenson. His guys are well prepared. They have a tough offensive system to kind of go against. So, for us defensively coming out first, it was kind of getting the game under control, getting the tempo that they wanted to play at, and getting our defense to settle in. Offensively, we were just trying to figure them out schematically where we wanted to attack, get the proper angles to run some of our power game. And in the first half, their offense dominated the football. They did a great job playing keep away, and once we were able to get the ball kind of at halftime, we kind of talked to our guys about, hey, we know the plays are there. We just got to make sure we're going to the right places, getting our assignments done, and, our running backs, hitting the hole hard. And once we got it going, it kind of all worked out.
Yeah, specifically, I think there was, a 41-yard touchdown run in the third quarter that seemed to kind of light a fire under your team. I mean, yeah, I think probably one of the more challenging things that you probably dealt with since you joined is that changing the story, changing the mantra. I mean, you're down at halftime. It's kind of like, all right, here we go again. But obviously, that play and the second half was something where that all that old stuff, the 27 games and all that kind of went out the window. And it seems like you've really got your team to believe that, hey, we're in all these games and we're going to win them.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got a team full of guys that want to fight and they want to learn how to win. And, the hardest step is we haven't won in so long. Guys just don't know how to take the next step forward. And we kind of, we get punched in the mouth early and we kind of sat back on our heels a little bit. But the guys kind of got together at half, like I said, and they just really were like, hey, let's go out and let's take care of this. And, they did a great job, and for us, we knew we had the kids, we knew we had the talent and the speed to get it done, but it was just we had to figure out the trenches up front. And I think once our kids started to believe and they started to feel the momentum, they just rode the flow and went with it, and I really do believe, we kind of train our guys to go for 4 quarters, and we talked about 5 quarters against WestCon last week, but we want our guys to stay and be able to distance, so.
Well, Coach, it was definitely a, let's say, 8-day or 7-day period when you get down to it for your team, no doubt about that. But it's been a maturation process of more than that, as you said at the beginning of this interview. Why did you take this job? I mean, when you look at this job, this is a program that has historically been a basketball school more than a football school. I've called a number of games at William Paterson in the playoffs. Back in the last decade or so for D3Hoops.com. And I passed by the football field and I think to myself, in the old days, I didn't even remember that William Paterson had a football team. Now suddenly we're going to remember this because of you, but why did you want this job in the first place? And, lead us, you came from Stevenson, for those that don't know, as their defensive coordinator. And by the way, good job overall in keeping the scores low the last couple of weeks, especially last week. But why did you want it?
Well, first, when I was at Stevenson, I was recruiting New Jersey. At Salisbury, we recruited New Jersey. So there's a ton of talent here. So one of the things that makes this job attractive was if we could get some of these young men or student athletes to stay here in state, and pay a reduced price or in-state tuition, the academics here are good. So helping these young men come to a place that's affordable, play a good brand of football in the NJAC conference, which is very competitive and tough, and then also earn a college degree, and that was a big part of it, where I think this is a place that, we can get really good players and we can actually help these student athletes win football games and graduate, so that was, why the job was very attractive. Personally, for myself and my family, it was a good move. We have a 2-year-old at home, and, my wife is a nurse, so kind of helped us there a little bit. So, I got to look out for the family first. But, I think we can get some talented recruits here, and it's at an affordable price. And, I think the administration does a really good job of supporting us.
Well, I know Frank mentioned your time as a defensive coordinator at Stevenson, but you were a quarterback originally. You were the QB for the Salisbury Seagulls down there in the Maryland Shore, and helped them win a lot of games. And you are now the offensive coordinator. So you've kind of come a little bit of a complete circle a little bit, having spent some time on the defensive side of the ball, getting Stevenson's program up and running. I mean, what's the type of offense? I don't know if you guys are a triple option team like the Seagulls. I mean, you can see from the stats that your running back Riddick did have 167 yards on 11 carries, and Mason rushed for 19 and 81 yards. So it's obviously maybe a more run-based offense. But tell us a little bit about the kind of the schemes that you guys are running up there in New Jersey.
Offensively, we're based out of the gun. We're your RPO. We want to do quick game. We want to use our quick game to kind of set up our run game a little bit. We're still figuring out our passing game situation right now. We had a freshman quarterback step in last week, did a great job against WestCon, and he got the nod this week. And, he kind of, again, in the first half, he came out a little slow, but, we got some quick game passes going with him. I think he had like 3 or 4 incomplete passes on the day, but he did a great job of handling the football for us. And once he got his reads down, the offense just started to open up. So, we're a lot like everyone else, running the spread, like a little bit more. We're not running up tempo yet, but we're hoping to build to that. With such young offensive players, just everything's a daily process, step by step for us.
Yeah. Yeah, your quarterback Crespo, 17 of 25, so it's pretty efficient, almost 70%. So nice balance there, Coach.
So, Coach. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say George has done a great job coming in. He's a hitty young man. I think he's a 4-year starter as a high school quarterback. So, it's been good. And I'm excited to see where that young man can go.
Absolutely, and he's going to have some definite tutelage with you at the helm. Let's talk about what you look at as the plan, essentially. When you come in and you start turning things around, it's not an overnight sensation. We all know that. You've alluded to it. But at some point, the goal is to win the NJAC, obviously. And with teams like Wesley in there, thanks to Frostburg State for exiting, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, DeLane Fitzgerald, how you doing? But Southern Virginia gone as well. So there's less teams to have to go through now. So it's a little bit more even achievable, one would say. But what was the number of year plan you looked at for something like that? And how do you measure success in year 2? What would a successful year 2 consist of?
I think success, we won a football game, basically getting our guys to come back. And that's one thing we've preached and talked to our guys about. If you want to change the culture at William Paterson and you want to change the program's history and where we want to go, you have to come back academically, be eligible, stay on pace to graduate. And the more guys we can get to become seniors, the better our program is going to be. So right now, the job for us as coaches in here is we're going to educate you, obviously, on the film. We're going to coach these young men up, but we want to help them win in life, and we want to help them get a college degree. And I think most importantly, them being able to lean on that once they're out of here, it'll help us win football games, when these guys are seniors. And I've come in with the program and the mindset that we're going to build from the ground up. And you do see a lot of guys that are freshmen and sophomores that are playing for us. And if we can get that core group to continue to come back here, I think we'll have a chance to compete for the top of the NJAC in the next year or two.
Well, Coach, you get kind of an extended Victory Monday, almost to a victory week, because you've got a bye early on in the season. Your next game is in week 4 on the 28th against your neighbors there, SUNY Maritime. Is sort of business as usual with the bye week, as far as just running the regular practice, and then you'll start the game plan install the following, or is it just a time to sort of sit back and just kind of enjoy the win? It's been a little while, right?
Well, I'm pretty sure you guys know the business. There's no time to really enjoy it. We told our guys, enjoy it on Saturday. You get an extra day this week to actually enjoy it. But we were back to business on Sunday. We practiced, and our kids are off on Mondays here, so hopefully they can get off to a good start academically each week. For us, we're in the office trying to figure out where we're going to go, what injuries we got, what is our plan for practice this upcoming week. That's what we're looking at now, and figured out the smartest way to kind of manage our guys in their time.
Just going to check this because I think I know who Maritime's next opponent is. Are they not going for a game across the river?
I think it's Merchant Marine.
Yeah, I thought it was. So, Coach Toop, would you like to send him any messages on how to treat SUNY Maritime this weekend?
Treat them nicely. Run your offense. That triple option. I know it can be hard for some people. So I'll leave it at that.
There you go. Well, Coach, normally we save this for our student guests or player guests when they're here, but you're a new guy on the block and you've never had an opportunity to do this with us. So it sounds like you've got a budding family forming that you might want to send some shout outs to and some friends and other family that might be watching as well. So, Coach Dustin Johnson, congratulations on the first win as a head coach. The floor is yours. Give any shout outs you like to friends, family, etc.
Well, obviously, Coach Huddle and those guys at Stevenson, I really appreciate everything they've done. And, Coach Huddle still is a mentor of mine that I actually can talk to a little bit. And I hope those guys have a lot of success. And they got a big game against Delaware Valley this week. So I'm looking forward to watching that. Congrats to the big win, Coach Wood and Salisbury, and Coach Bennett and Coach Fleetwood, those guys down there. That was a tremendous win at home. Hope you guys slow down by the end of the season when we see you. And that's, everybody else. That's about it. Coach Fitz sent me a message, so you can send him a message as well. Thanks for his support, because he's actually been a great mentor of mine too. He's an hilarious man.
That's kind of
appreciate everything.
Unbeknownst to you, last year, in some of the talk we had, I think off camera with him, if I remember correctly, JB, Coach Fitz actually told us to look out for William Paterson. And you know us, so we're like, okay, Coach, whatever you say. And he was serious. He was 100% serious. And he complimented you up, down, and sideways at that point that you had something going on there. And lo and behold, Frostburg Fitz is right again. We've got something going on there. Essentially a tie game in week 1 that had to be decided in overtime, and a win in week 2. And we'll see what happens in week 4, which is your third game coming up on the 28th. In the meantime, soak it up and enjoy it if you can. And Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, guys.
Hey, JB, I love talking to players from military schools, except when we have our technical difficulties, because they lock down those technology fortresses like no other. But we got through. Don't tell Washington. We got clearance. Through. We got our player guests. We're going to have to hurry up here, though, before they catch wind of it in the Pentagon that, they're going to shut us down and come after us. So I'm going to let you do the honors of introducing, perhaps, our player guest this week.
Yeah, and that would be the junior quarterback out of Norwich University, Matt Dunn, who led his team to a great victory to get your first Hoffman Cup over St. Lawrence this past weekend. And you guys have your annual little Army-Navy game against the Coast Guard coming up this weekend. Congrats on the 2-0 start. How does it feel?
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. It feels good to get a good start like this. It's taken a little while to get back to our winning ways here, but we're here and we're hoping to stay there.
Well, we've been watching you guys for a little while, to be honest with you. I was at Merchant Marine last year, and your favorite receiver in that game was Mr. Romero, who had, I think, 270 plus yards receiving, a couple touchdowns from you. You had an interesting day there. It was kind of one of those up and down days. Your efficiency wasn't great, but the yardage was great in that game. You still are putting up some huge numbers. Look, 49 pass attempts, that's on our screen right there, 399 yards. Tell your statistician to maybe add one next time for 400. But the point being this, you have been prolific in your numbers. Romero has been pretty good, and so have the rest of your receivers. Is this a maturation process going on? And kind of tell us a little bit about how the St. Lawrence game worked out last week, as it was kind of a touch-and-go game, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can say it's us being more mature now. But, I mean, we got two freshmen on the team that are balling out right now. We got Trevor Chase from Maine and Hollywood Johnson. That's Tristan Johnson. We just call him Hollywood. He's from Florida, and they're balling out for us, too. They're really opening up the field for Manny. They're opening up the field for Mint, who's our other slot receiver, and even Reedy when he's out there, too. But I think we're all really clicking just with the offense, too. The system really works for all four guys to get the ball and get touches, and it opens up the field. Yeah, for Manny, I know he plays well, and he's so good and prolific that a lot of people see him do his thing, but a lot of people haven't really even touched the surface yet in this offense, too. We haven't even reached our potential in what we can do, and our goal is to kind of really get to there this week and carry it on to the coming weeks.
Well, I definitely know that when I spoke to other coaches in the NJAC that they're well aware of your offense and what you guys can do. But, I think it's, to Frank's point, I mean, you start off your career as a wide receiver. You play in one game, I think, against WPI, and then the second or third game of your sophomore year, you're thrust into the starting quarterback role. Tell us a little bit about, that progression. I know last season there was some challenges with turnovers. Maybe you guys would have won a few more games if not for that. But what have you worked on to really make you the quarterback that we're seeing today?
I just usually work. Footwork's a big part of it. Getting my feet in the right position to make throws. I'm a shorter quarterback. I'm only 5'9", 5'10" on a good day. So really getting my arm mechanics in the right spot to make good throws is something that I really strive for. Like last year with the turnovers, I think I had way more interceptions and touchdowns. I'm going to try to get that down this year. And I think that when it comes to what I do over the summers and in the off season to get ready, it's get my arm strength there, working with my receivers who are here in the off season before we go home to make sure our timing's there. And then when we come in the fall camp to make sure that everything's good and everything's crisp, and so far it has been.
So wait a minute, you're 5'9", I'm 5'9", so you're telling me with my 4 years of eligibility I still have remaining, I could become a quarterback too? Is that where we're going with this?
Yeah, if you want to give it a shot, just if you come here, you're going to have to battle with me for that.
Yeah, well,
you don't want to do that,
I'm lost. I'm done.
Yeah.
Hey, so last year, you gotta have to endure some memories of some social media stuff going on after the game that's coming up this coming Saturday. I think this was the drink from the cup or drink from the mug Ryan Jones game ultimately. Ryan Jones, nice guy. We've interviewed him on here, and he said he didn't actually try to drink from the mug really because there might be lead in it. So we advise you, if you win it this weekend, don't. But
yeah.
My point in question ultimately comes down to this. How did last year feel? Did it kind of feel a burning sensation that hasn't relieved itself at this point to come to this game this year? And tell us about the importance of this game, because a lot of people don't quite understand what this whole Little Army Navy thing means. What's the pomp and circumstance like leading up to it?
Well, I can tell you right now, I'm looking out at our stadium right now, and they're installing more stands for this game, and we got a pretty big stadium to start with, so that just shows the magnitude of it. We're going to have a lot of people here. It's alumni weekend. It's the 200th anniversary of our school, so this place is going to be packed, and the alumni are going to want to see a good game. And going back to last year, I mean, losing on the last play and honestly almost taking back that falling kick return for a touchdown aside from the shoelace tackle. I mean, that one hurt. I remember a lot of guys were down in the locker room after that one. Go have to sing our alma mater after a loss. That's no fun. No one likes doing that. And especially now it's a conference game. I mean, that puts more implication on it. I mean, they're a great team, but I think this year we have the tools necessary to, pull it out. And, one of our team goals is never lose in the fourth quarter. And last year that was not successful in this game, but it definitely will be this year when we put ourselves in the right position. And we all, this whole week of practice, we've had 2 days of practice this week. Monday where it was just a helmets day and we were still buzzing around. Everybody, the energy was there, everybody was good. And then, a 6:30 practice this morning, everybody's going, everybody's hitting, everybody's ready to go. I mean, you can definitely feel the tension rising for this game, and we're ready to go. We're waiting for Saturday, and we're going to let it unleash.
Well, one of the stranger things I heard over the weekend were some announcers during a game that described the south of Boston as a rough area. You're from Rockland, which is in Plymouth County, and probably a town of like 20,000 people, pretty bucolic New England type of thing. Yeah, and so what led a kid from down there to end up in Vermont, and of all places a military type of academy? Tell us a little bit about your journey that brought you to Norwich.
Yeah, my sophomore, junior year, I started thinking about colleges I wanted to go to, and I knew I wanted to join the military, and I was thinking about enlisting. And then my brother, he was a Marine, as a lot of my family has been before me. And he turned me on to the officer route. And when I heard about that, I got intrigued because I had the grades to attend a university, and I had the passion to join the military. So I was looking at places kind of far away, the Naval Academy, the Citadel, and stuff like that. And then I didn't really know too much about Norwich. And then a lot of people from my area came here and played hockey or played football or stuff like that. And they turned me on to it. And I did the application process. Knew I wanted to play football or play a sport in college, and it just worked out where I could get to come here and fulfill my dream of being in the military while playing the greatest game in the world too.
Tell us about your relationship with Coach Murniak. I think 9 years he's been coaching over there, or this is his 9th year. And what kind of influence did he have on you coming there? And have you guys grown closer as you kind of grown in your role as quarterback? From what JB said, obviously it's been a kind of winding road for you there. But how has he gotten you to sort of become the helmsman here ultimately?
Oh, he's been a tremendous help. There's no doubt there. He's one of the best defensive coaches in the conference. There's no doubt. He sends everything at us in practice to get us ready for these games from a defensive standpoint. And honestly, our defense is so good that it makes it almost easier going into those games where like when you're going against a defense as tough as that we have in practice, that when you get to the game, it's going to be that type of speed, that game speed from practice to the game that's going to translate well. And Coach Marin, we've definitely grown closer over the years. When I was a receiver, I was going up against his DBs that were unbelievable. Brashawn Stewart, Mike Corina, and he was teaching me the ropes as far as when I was in the special teams game as a return man. And then he was totally open when I was trying to switch back to quarterback, and he was really supportive of it. And ever since then, it's been nothing but good things. He sends his men after me in practice, and it gets me better. And I think he's been huge for me becoming the quarterback I am.
I've got before I let JB jump in. Let's see if we can catch a youngster on trivia here. Do you know the most, let's say, famous former receiver from Norwich? Now, I'm not going to say he graduated from Norwich, but who was the most famous wide receiver to play or at least attend Norwich University that you can think of?
Right now, it's Pierre Garçon.
Yeah, you got it. Nailed it. Look at that.
Yeah.
Hopefully we change that answer with the 4 guys that we got here right now, and maybe the guys coming in the future, though.
This might be my favorite New England team here. I'm looking at your guys' roster. There's a lot of players from the Orlando area. We got Apopka, and then we got a little further south. We got Fort Lauderdale near Frank's neck of the woods when he teaches at the University of Miami. You got Ocala. Daytona Beach. Aaron Connor, who, by the way, I think owes you one that because I noticed in the box score he was the one guy with the -1 receiving yard. So should have been 400 there, Aaron. Come on, this guy's going to have to do some wind sprints or 100 push-ups or something for that. But
nah, he's all good. He does enough in the run.
There you go. Well, that's a quarterback's best friend, right? Other than your offensive line, you got to have a good running game. And with Bork and Connor, you got two good guys back there.
Oh yeah, they're studs.
Well, listen, we could talk to you all day, honestly. We always say we take a risk on these interviews because we don't know you guys that well. We know you play really well, but interviews can be a whole different world, and you've been a pure pleasure to talk with, just like Ryan Jones, who will be facing you guys down from across the field, and we'll see where that goes on Saturday in the Little Army-Navy game. Good luck in the game itself. We can't choose favorites here, but we want to see everybody play really well. But before you go, you get the opportunity for shout-outs, any teammates, friends, family, anybody that might be watching you. Matt Dunn, this is your time for shout-outs. The floor is yours.
First, want to send a shout-out to the O-line, protecting me, those big guys up front, never letting the bad guys get to me. Shout-out to the running backs for, always being there and, setting up the pass game when we need it and running the ball tough when we need it as well. Shout-out to my receivers for making me look good every play, every snap, even when the ball's a bad one. Coaches who believed in me and putting the trust in me, Coach Kolb, Coach Smeshko, Coach Shaves, Coach Vreeland on the offensive side, and then Coach Marin, Coach Russell, and Coach Rhodes, Coach Madden on the defensive side. Thanks to you for us to be this team's quarterback, and hopefully I can pull it out for you guys on Saturday. And then shout out to my family for always showing support and my boys back home. And go Wick, baby.
So, JB, you always ask this question of quarterbacks when they mention the offensive line. So I guess we need to kind of change it up here a little bit. You're in a military school, so, normally JB's like, hey, how do you go and, take care of those big uglies up front of you that, do you take them out for dinner and this and that? It's not as easy in a military institution. So how do you take care of the guys that protect you during the season?
Yesterday we gave him some cookies. After a pretty good game, provided by our offensive coordinator, Coach Kolb's wife. I ran those up to them during film. And then Coach Kolb actually has this cool tradition that we do when we go on away games and the parents get us some food for after. He grabs, like an extra sandwich or whatever the food of the day is there, and he has me pick some offensive linemen who really sacrificed me during the game, and I give them a little something. And then during practice, it's always, a good slap on the back or, something like that to say, hey, thanks for having me on that play, because I probably would have got crushed on it.
So it's a lot cheaper than the Taco Bell $5 box that Jason Hellweek at Brockport told us about, or Wahid Nabi's Fat Jack's dinners.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little different to find Taco Bell and stuff around here. It's like 30 miles down the road, but maybe somewhere.
Yeah.
It is Vermont indeed, and for everybody that thinks that Vermont's a big state with a lot of greenery in it, you're living proof of it at Norwich. It's a beautiful place. You hopefully get up there sometime to actually catch a game. I wanted to this weekend. Unfortunately, got some stuff going on in New York City, so I might get to another military institution, Merchant Marine, to see them play SUNY Maritime this weekend. But I'm going to be watching the score for sure and the stat lines of you guys to see what happens. And maybe, just maybe, we'll have another guest from Norwich on sooner rather than later here. So thanks for joining us. And again, good luck to you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Have a good one.
Thanks, Matt. And thank you for your service, too, by the way.